Tonight's Talk at 10, redeveloping Syracuse's first impression. It's a good way to put it. As we told you earlier, a new agreement in the works could help give this area of DeWitt, right around Carrier Circle, a bit of a facelift, right off the thruway. So it's one of the first things people see on their way into the central New York area, or even the city of Syracuse. Brings up the question, what kind of impression are we making, and where else could we make improvements into impressions that we leave with people? And boy, this is a good one to put right at the top of the list, isn't it? Michael Benny joins us for the Talk at 10 tonight, as he does every night. And Michael, that is, yeah.
Actually, you know what? We're giving it too much credit, because you don't see the graffiti that up close, mercifully, as you're driving by Carrier Circle.
Yeah, and part of the thing is with Carrier Circle, you're still kind of like oh my God, how do I get
figuring out where to go?
How do I get out of the circle safely?
Thank God most people who drive that aren't from here are probably not. It's the passengers who have time to look out the window and go, well, where are we?
Yes, and if
Baghdad?
Right, and if you think about it, if you did have, say, company coming from the east, you might suggest going one more exit to Route 81, at least come in by Carousel Mall into down.
I often find myself doing that.
Yeah, and let's just avoid this Carrier Circle area unless they're going right to a hotel or something like that. But this has been a blight for a long time. I mean, just saying the words Howard Johnson's Hotel gives you an idea how long it's been. I think it's been 10 years of vacancy anyway, and the hotel itself was built back in an era that has now been virtually forgotten. One good, you look across the street there, you just got a quick glimpse of it.
It's amazing what they've done with Carrier.
Thompson Road, taking down, now this is one of those positives. They took down that whole Carrier complex. Of course, we missed the jobs that used to be housed there, but once you accept the fact that they had been shipped overseas and into the Carolinas, then you realize, well, let's do something with the property that's productive. They do have a new youth athletic facility they're trying to do in that area. And also that bike park is also one of the buildings in that area, too.
That's a lot of land, though. I mean, there's still a lot of work to go, but let's get the Howard Johnsons. I mean, we can't even call it the Howard Johnsons. Let's get that ridiculous eyesore taken down. And there's good news on that front today. We put Brandon Roth on this story to find out what in the world's happening. The DeWitt Town Supervisor says that the spring, which occurs like in a week, but I'm thinking probably not early spring, maybe later spring.
Another month or two.
McDonald's appears to be on board with allowing an access road to be built on its property. It's going to involve changing where the drive-through is at that McDonald's, but that will clear the way for a new hotel project. These people with the hotel have been on board for years, but this project obviously has gone nowhere. So it appears we are on the cusp of things happening.
Here's the bigger picture problem is that this is not the only location like this in our community.
Sadly, no. Although it's a bad one.
It is a bad one. It needs all the priority can be given by, especially by the town of DeWitt and people who are going to fight for that area locally. But even if we go to our Facebook comments tonight and we put the question out there, tell us about some other eyesore that you might see every day, and people from all over our region have ideas, whether it be a house in the middle of Cortland. Now the computer's bouncing around a bit, but a house that's run down that they drive by, or one person saying just about all of Fulton, which is obviously facetious. But on the other hand, there are long stretches of city blocks in our older communities, the city of Syracuse, or maybe it is the city of Fulton, or an Auburn, or a Rome, or a Utica, where exactly that same thing can be said. There are depressing areas. There's no sugarcoating it, where you'll drive by and see, if not vacant lots, dilapidated homes or buildings that you would say, oh, that once was that, and now it's almost nothing, or maybe it's only a kind of a high-priced or overpriced convenience store. We have a big issue with the stock of our real estate. There's plenty of real estate available at reduced prices. But where are we going with it, and how do you even start to dig into this job? How do you get at it? Everybody wants to build new. If they do anything at all, they want to build new, leaving the old behind.
I mean, the problem in the city of Syracuse is that the cost of demolishing home after home after home that are in decrepit condition is so wildly astronomical. You wouldn't think it would cost that much to just put a bulldozer through something. That sounds like such the easy answer, but we've learned from years of doing these stories that it costs a lot of money, and into the demolition budget is not a place that any mayor generally finds it's a great idea to throw incredible sums of money, even though that may ultimately, just speaking in the city of Syracuse, may be what we need in some neighborhoods, just to level things.
And it is the responsibility ultimately ends up being with the government because the owners are long gone. That they've abandoned the property. They don't care if the taxes are overdue on it. They've just they may not even live in Syracuse and don't respond to legal issues of any kind. So it does often fall back on the city governments or the government in general, which is overtaxed in many ways, metaphorically and otherwise.
It is amazing what we tolerate, though. I mean, as we look at that video, I don't even know if we can bring it back up again. I hate to look at it, but it speaks to something so much bigger than the problem there.
It's awful.
Look at what we have simply become accustomed to. Look at what the taxpayers in DeWitt have become accustomed to. What town leaders in DeWitt have said, yep, this is happening, we see it every day, and what can we do about it? Look what we have tolerated.
And part of the problem is there's not nearly as many people around there anymore as there used to be either. So the number of people tolerating it is not what it once was. So there's a lot of issues here, but yes, we shouldn't stand for it. People should stand up and ask for change, that's for sure. Thank you, Michael, for joining us tonight on the Talk at 10, as you do every night. You can join the conversation, too. You can post your comment in the area about what you'd like to see fixed. Of course, what I'd ask is if you post the comment, then why don't you try to do something about it, too? You know, raise a stink somewhere.